If you want to overcome social anxiety, there's 3 things that you need to do. And this first thing is very important. It relates to your mind. And I didn't even really realize when I first overcame social anxiety, I didn't really realize I had this thing, but I did. It's a thing I like to call encouragement. I noticed that when I started making videos about how to overcome social anxiety on YouTube, I started talking about putting myself in social situations, letting the anxiety come up, getting used to it. But then I realized a lot of people don't agree with that. A lot of people are like, no, that doesn't work for me. I can't just put myself in social situations. It just doesn't work. There's a lot of people that don't believe that it will work, and they don't actually go try it, or they try it once and then they give up. And a lot of these people, they don't have guidance. They don't have encouragement. They don't have people telling them, oh, well, try again. Or, oh, that's good that you're feeling anxious in social situations. It's giving you self-awareness. There's nobody telling them, okay, what's the next step after you go and practice making eye contact with one person? What do you do if you get so nervous that you just run away? It's an embarrassing situation. How do you reframe that embarrassment in your mind? Oh, the embarrassment's good because it's teaching you that you can be embarrassed and nothing bad's going to happen. You're not going to die. You're not going to blow up just from being embarrassed. Go try to blow up, explode from being embarrassed. Be a good personal challenge. You can prove me wrong, but as far as I know, I've never blown up from embarrassment. So that's the first thing, is encouragement. You need to start finding people or being around people that tell you you can overcome social anxiety. Because if I was hanging out with a certain group of people, those people, you might see these people in the comments on YouTube, or just people who are part of a pity party, who look at you and go, yeah, man, if you have social anxiety, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can go get pills from a doctor and they'll kind of help or whatever. You can go to this, you go to that. It's nothing that's actually in your control. But what I like to do, and what I encourage you to do, is find people that believe that it is in your control and you can overcome social anxiety. You can face it. So the first step is encouragement. I found encouragement online, on YouTube, much like the video that you're watching right now, from somebody who told me, hey, you can overcome social anxiety. Here's how you do it. When somebody has overcome social anxiety themselves and they're telling you that you can do it, they're coming from a place of experience, and you should trust that person if they have in fact actually done the thing that you want to do, overcoming social anxiety, which is what you want to do if you clicked on this video, if you're watching this video, right? So that's step one. Find somebody who can guide you, who can encourage you. Find somebody who's just telling you that you can do it. Like I said, I didn't understand the crucial step of encouragement until after I overcame social anxiety, but I definitely had it. I realized it recently when, like I said, I started reading YouTube comments of people that just don't encourage you. People that say, oh, if you have social anxiety, you just have to stay inside all the time. That's your life. I don't believe those people, because I have evidence in myself that you can actually go face social anxiety, get it out of your life, and start living a more normal life, or at least a tiny bit more of a social life, where you can go do some of the things that you truly want to do as a human being. Connect with other people and be around other people and feel at ease and feel comfortable and not give a shit what people think. That's possible. And I also had to realize that I needed encouragement recently in other areas of my life, like business and things like that, just other areas of my life. And that's kind of what helped me also realize this crucial step. And I kind of related it back to when I overcame social anxiety. So here's number 2, what you have to do. Put yourself in more social situations. What that means to you is going to be different than it means to somebody else. For me, I was so shy and so anxious when I talked to new people that the first thing I ever did was I bought a packet of gum at a store. And I had a goal in my mind. I was like, I'm going to ask the cashier where they're from. That's it. just going to make conversation. I'm not going to go up and just be like, hi, pay for my thing, thank you, and leave. I'm going to ask them where they're from. It was intimidating. And I chickened out the first time I did it. I was like, on my way home from my summer job. I was working a summer job at the time. I was on my way home from it, driving home, stopped at the store, chickened out, and I was like, man, I chickened out. I didn't do it because I thought the person looked a little intimidating. So I'm like, all right, let me just try this again. I have to do this. So I went in to another store. Person was a little bit less intimidating. I think she was a college girl around my age at the time. And I asked her, where are you from? And she just told me. She actually started talking for like 2 minutes straight. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, whoa, she's telling me a bunch about herself. I'm like listening and stuff. And then at the end of her talking, I'm just like, cool, well, good luck with college. And I just walked off. But that was it. That was like the start of it. Then I started doing more ballsy things, like just talking to my classmates once I went back to college more, asking them how their summer went, things like that. I started approaching people on my college campus and just asking them for directions, because my whole mentality was I have to get myself in front of people. I have to get myself in social situations with people, specifically new people. Because, if I talked to like a good friend of mine, there wasn't really much anxiety with that. It was mostly new people and big groups of people. So that's what I did. And I started putting myself, like, I was like, all right, I'm going to ask 4 people for directions. So I just walked up, hey, excuse me, sorry to bother you, but you know where the museum on campus is? Oh, it's down that way? Cool, thank you. And then, after I did that 4 times, then the next day, or maybe later that day, I would go, all right, I'm going to ask somebody for directions and then give them a genuine compliment. Like, hey, do you know where the building is? Oh, cool, thanks. By the way, I like your shirt. Yeah. And that was cool because I'm just like giving a little bit of value, giving a compliment, and then walking away. And I did that over and over again. And eventually, this is going to lead into the third thing. I started being a little bit more vulnerable. So I started, like, I didn't want to hide. Like, my whole mentality leading up to this point, this breaking point where I decided I have to get over social anxiety. I have to get it out of my life. It's not worth it. Like, it's not worth it to live like this. Up until that point, I tried to hide a lot. I didn't want people to think I was awkward or I lacked social skills. So I was just quiet all the time. I was quiet, reserved. I didn't put myself out there. So there's this habit that I had of hiding away, not being vulnerable, not showing who I am, and just not being afraid to let people see me for who I am. So that's the third thing. So step number 3 is vulnerability, and being yourself. You're going to notice that if you're putting yourself in more and more social situations, just doing that, like just doing step 2, is going to make you more confident. But you also have to keep in mind that you don't want to put on a character like your whole life, Like, you don't want to have to power your way through these social situations. So with step 3, what you're going to do to counter that is focus on being more open, focus on vulnerability, focus on being yourself. If you have something to say, one of the best exercises that you can do is, if you have something to say in your friend group, whether it's like a joke that you don't want to say because you're afraid people aren't going to laugh, or it's a thought that you're afraid people are going to disagree with or something, just say the thought, regardless of what happens. Because if you have social anxiety, or if you're shy, or if you're holding back from being yourself in social situations or putting yourself out there, it's likely that you're just focusing a lot on people's reactions, and you're not focusing on the act of just saying what's on your mind, speaking your truth. So that's an exercise that you can do. And when I did step 2, putting myself in more social situations, that can get progressively harder. You can be progressively more ballsy with that. I eventually got to a point where I was literally just walking up to people and I was like, well, I don't know what else to say. I want to be honest with people. So I'll just walk up to them and I'd be like, hey, what's up? I know this is really random. I'd like stop people on my college campus who are walking to or from class, between classes, whatever. Or at the end of the day, when people are kind of more relaxed, I'd be like, hey, I know this is like really random, but I just like to talk to like 3 new people a day because I'm improving my confidence, or I'm shy, or I have social anxiety. I'm just trying to be more confident. Where are you from? Oh, cool. Is that like over there? Blah, blah, blah. And I'd ask them like their name, where they're from, what they're studying in school. I'd talk about that, how they got into that. I'll just be curious about people, and then I would talk about myself a little bit, and I'd just be like, cool, have a nice day. And I eventually got to the point where I was doing that with girls, and every once in a while, this happened like maybe 2-3 times over the course of the months that I was practicing it. I approached a lot of people, but I actually got dates. Like, some girls just liked me. If you approach enough people, you're just going to hit it off with some people, and you're building confidence at the same time. And yeah, I mean, I eventually got ballsy enough to like walk up and just say like, hey, I thought you were attractive. I wanted to meet you, you know? Whatever my intent was for that conversation, I would just speak it. And the thing you have to realize with becoming somebody who's not shy anymore, like if you're shy and you don't want to be shy, you get anxious in social situations, you don't want to be that anymore. I know it's hard to like control the anxiety, but you don't have to control the anxiety. If you put yourself in a social situation, you're acting into existence you not being a shy person anymore. Sure, you're going to be anxious. Sure, you're going to be nervous. I was shaking when I walked up to like attractive women on my college campus, but I knew that I was getting something out, because after every interaction, you can look at yourself, you look at your hands, you're still here, you're still there, you didn't blow up, nothing bad happened. Whatever. I mean, like, what's the worst thing that happens? It's a little embarrassing, you get nervous, whatever. So that's step 3, is being open. Trust me, a life of hiding in order to try to manipulate people's opinions of you is way worse than a life of just being open and not having to worry about that, and just being yourself, being open. So you have to accept it. You have to accept if you have social anxiety. And you can even you can be open about it if people ask. You don't have to tell them your life story. You don't have to be overly open about it. The reason I say that is because I made that mistake sometimes. I started talking about it too much, but then it's like, okay, Troy, you can dial it back a little bit. But the initial thing that helped me was being open about it. It was walking up to people and being like, hey, I'm building my confidence, or hey, I'm shy, or I have social anxiety, and I like to talk to new people and just build my confidence. So that's step 3. If you have something on your mind, speak it. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. Feel whatever feelings come up. You're basically weeding out the anxiety every single time that you face it, that you do something that brings it up. You're weeding it out of yourself, like wringing it out. Like, that's how I view it. When I throw myself into a social situation that I'm nervous in, or now it would be like maybe a really crucial conversation with somebody that I'm in a relationship with, it's like it's uncomfortable, right? But you're like wringing out the discomfort, and the anxiety is just dripping out like you're wringing out a wet washcloth or something. So those are the 3 steps on how to overcome social anxiety. Just real quick, I'm making this video for anybody who could be helped by it. Now, I know my content might also touch, what am I trying to say, man? All right. Dude,